Hello Capricorn friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Capricorn October 2022 Astrology Horoscope. This is for you if Capricorn is your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, or any other Cap placement that you watch for. What we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Cap, either through sign or degree, then we'll say like January 15th through the rest of the sign, or around 25 or so degrees, 23 to 25 degrees to the rest of the sign. I additionally suggest you listen to my Aquarius report because you very late degree friends will have extra pieces from both, or pieces from both. My little tagline here is, will you break? And believe me, I am looking at this horoscope with you because I have a lot of Cap placements in my chart. So we're going to break down what I mean by this. But we also have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to touch on what we're going to talk about here, and then we'll get right down to business. We do have more salty aspects compared to sweet ones, and that means that we will have a lot of roadblocks in October. Again, nothing to fear, just something to be aware of. It'll be a nuisance. It'll be like the speed bumps are in front of you when you're trying to flow. So if you expect it, it can be much less frustrating because you can just slow down. Not an easy thing for Caps to do, but you can slow down and just kind of ease your way over and just know that we need a little bit more of a relaxed pace, and that's coming for multiple reasons. We do have the month split between Mercury retrograde and Mercury direct. We've got Mercury going direct on October 2nd with the post-transit shadow period going through October 17th. So mid-month, we'll start to have a little more clarity, a little more room for negotiations and contracts and, things that are a little bit murky during that retrograde. We do have Mars officially going retrograde on October 30th through January 18th. Long shadow periods before and after that one. We started to go into this mode September 4th, and it will linger through March 15th. So Mars, the ruler of ambition, and Caps have a lot of that, and energy levels, and the bigger visions and the bigger dreams. You might start to see that's waning a little bit. I see that as a super positive thing for Capricorns who let this happen, if we drop our agenda and just kind of table our big dream projects a bit, or work a little in the backdrop and be content to see progress in the inner realms and not as apparent in the outer. This can be super fun. I have come to love Mars retrograde. We'll talk more about that. We've got Jupiter still retrograde until November 23rd, and that's going to, really continue to just put those big dreams again on a table, or we need to work more in the backdrop to make sure the foundations for what we're trying to create are strong enough for our big vision. We've got the full moon, which is going to be in a conflictive aspect for Cap. It can be a positive thing by cracking us out of a matrix. And we've got eclipse season, so non-negotiable changes, big beginnings, big endings, big chances to clear karma and old patterns instantly, and big chances to step on your highest expression path. And then we've got that last Saturn-Uranus square, which is kind of a big deal. 2021 was covered in this energy, and we do have it as well in 2022. We had a close connection in the earlier part of the year, and now we'll have this close connection at the end, October 1st through 12th, and then lingering into November, and we'll feel it a bit in September. So we'll talk about what's going on there. So the first thing we need to talk about is where all of the planets are and what's going on for Cap. Okay, so we've got energies in Libra, which is bringing focus on partnerships and relationships. And this question that I'm asking, will you break? Okay. No, I don't mean like your final break. This is, it's a power struggle that's been at play where partnerships are pushing your buttons. They're pushing, testing. And the question is not necessarily, will you break down? It's, will you break on what you believe where this conflict is? And so this is at a 90-degree angle to your placement. So people are really testing you. They're testing your resolve. They're testing you in your work. They're testing you at home. And the questions that you have to ask here, we have to ask, are they right? Is there something to what these people who are annoying us are saying? Do we really need to be more open to shift our perspectives on things or meet somebody halfway? Or do we need to, anchor in and stick our feet in the ground here? Those are feet. I don't know what happened there. and really just not budge. But since this is a breaking point and it does represent breaking energy, the odds of something cracking and coming to an accord are increased, but it's usually through this pressure. So you're going to feel it in work, you're going to feel it at home, and you really have to question what's going on here, because all of this retrograde energy, the Mercury, the Mars, the Jupiter, is making us go back over things and really question what it is that we're doing, how we're doing things, and if we're right about certain things. I mean, Capricorn people do tend to be right a lot of the time because we study, we research, we put a lot of hard work into it, we have a lot of experience in things that we're doing, and so we do tend to be authority figures in many ways on many topics. And at the same time, if there's something that's continually coming up that's a point of conflict, these retrogrades might give us better ways to do things, and someone's input may actually help to save us a lot of time and energy and money and drama and stress. So just kind of be open to see what, this is an open space, ready for some suggestions, and just kind of feel this energy. We might have to crack on certain things. And also, by the way, on this topic of will you break, is in the emotional space of a Capricorn, we reserve a lot of that emotion for when we can deal with it. And usually when we can deal with it is almost never, right? Because we have a lot of responsibility, this 10th house that is our focal point that's ruled by Saturn, is really, a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. So it might actually be good for you to cry or to, release, or like go to one of those places where you throw axes. I saw that one of these places recently when I was traveling where you can like go throw axes for stress relief. So it's like we need to break this tension, and it can be a positive thing. But we definitely want to crack it, because not only will breaking that tension give you new opportunities and new ways of seeing things, it can also be good for your health, it could be good for your relationships, and it could create positive resolutions to things that you were stuck on. Okay, so this breaking thing is kind of a big topic. Okay, so Mercury has been retrograde, focusing on Virgo energies, giving us, making us ask questions about how we're doing things, and can we do things better? Are we being efficient with our energy? And what do we have to do to make things better? So that topic, and then also Mars being in or transiting for a long time through our 6th house, is definitely going to give us inspiration to relax and to do less and to do things like vacation, staycation, and very important about this time. And when I say this time, I mean not only October, it's really going through into March of 2023, being the spider. Let those things that you've done in the world work for you and bring food to you. Stay in your web, hang out, let the food come in, relax. Anything you can do to table agendas and have less to-do lists. I know this isn't easy, but if you know this going into it, it took me a long time to learn and honor this, because I'm very driven like you. I hold myself to high standards, and you probably do the same, and my to-do list is always, kind of obscenely long. So if you just kind of let inspiration come in the moment, let the things in front of you dictate the way you use your energy, I promise you'll be so much happier, and you will love me for giving you a heads up, because this whole season from September into March is really going to be about restructuring how energy moves through you and how you do things. And you can leave this time a changed person, where you're even more productive with working less. And this is one of the goals that we want for our Cap friends. Okay, so let's talk about this full moon in Aries that is October 9th at 16 degrees. This is going to be at a 90-degree angle for us. Again, something wants to crack us out of a matrix, crack us out of a way of doing things. And this is going to pertain very strongly to our home and family, housing, real estate, those kind of things. We know that full moons can bring drama, completion, fruition, and sometimes sleeplessness. Sometimes it's basically like a dog shaking off water. That's my little dog. Shaking off water after they have a bath, with the water representing the emotion, and the full moon is like that. It's like we shake off our emotions. So that's why it's purposeful by the universe to give us a chance for all that tension that builds up to release it. So like, October 6th through October 12th, just kind of be aware that there might be a little drama in your family space or in your health or your recognition or your personal space. Excuse these lines. I was traveling this when I ran this, and Placidus lines are a little harder to see the further you run it away from the equator. But this is where we need to be, our fourth house here, and this is where it's highlighted. So this is going to be at 16 degrees, so everyone's going to feel that, but the chance for having a more matrix cracking pressure is going to be the closer you are to 11 to 21 degrees, the closer to 16 degrees, the more of an intense hit for any of your Cap placements. And that's going to be like, the first couple of weeks of January, basically, and the closer to the end of the first week, the more you'll see that. Okay, let's talk a little more about Mars retrograde now. It's really important to understand Mars retrograde because Mars rules our ambitions and it rules our oomph and our energy levels, but it doesn't only rule ours, it rules other people's. So if you are a Capricorn who has done well in delegating and having other people do stuff, unfortunately, you're going to find that many people are getting lazy. You might also get lazy. It's not a usual thing for Capricorn, but if you let yourself get lazy, that's actually a good thing. But the point is, other people might not be showing up for things because they're also affected by this Mars retrograde. So if you're trying to get anything done, the deeper Mars goes into retrograde, the harder you're going to be able to get people to do things. So if you have to get people to do things, and you're listening to this early, like I always put them out early, you might have an easier time finding people to do stuff in August, even in September, compared to once we get deeper in Mars retrograde, where people have all kinds of excuses to not show up, and that's not going to make you happy. So, you just really have to check your priorities and pick your battles, because it could be one huge battle if you don't kind of understand what's going on and just say, maybe it doesn't have to be done, if it's one of those things that doesn't have to be done, and prioritize what really needs to be done. All right, let's talk about these eclipses now. This is really important. So eclipse season tends to bring these dramatic, non-negotiable endings, beginnings, clearing up karma, negative imprinting, and putting us on our path of highest expression. October 25th, we have a 2-degree Scorpio solar eclipse. November 8th, we've got a 16-degree Taurus lunar eclipse. We will be feeling that lunar eclipse in October as well, and vice versa. So October and November are the heat of eclipse season, and you will see lots of changes. These are definitely times between all the retrogrades and all the eclipses. It's like, observe what's going on and only act when necessary. And if you do act, just know that right as soon as you do something, something might be right behind it, giving you different information that might cause you to have to be very versatile. So flexible arrangements might be better if possible, because, a lot's going to be coming at you. Now, in general, the Scorpio-Taurus eclipse cycle has been at work from the end of 2021 to the end of 2023. So here we are midway. Things are getting shuffled around with the energy of my stuff and our stuff. So your things and other people's things, shared resources, finances, autonomy, things in your relationship, your material items versus your emotional items. And there's a big restructuring going on as far as investment in people and investment in things. Okay, so you might notice, and this is in general, this eclipse cycle is super favorable for Capricorn placements because they make both the Scorpio and Taurus energies make the most favorable aspects in astrology. So this can, bring great favor. This October eclipse can bring great favor to all of the Capricorn placements, but especially those early friends, those ones like December 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, like those days there, you'll get more of an exact aspect. Now, the 16-degree friends, so basically like the first 2 weeks, the same people I talked about for the full moon being affected, for that November eclipse, like the first couple of weeks of January, the closer to the end of the week, first week of January, we'll say 11 degrees to 21 degrees, and the closer to 16 degrees, the more you get a kiss from that eclipse. So, we've got a wide coverage of people who can have extra profoundly positive effects from this eclipse cycle. But it is still like, a game of roulette. We don't really know what other aspects you have in your chart and how these are connecting with them. And there's definitely going to be big endings and big beginnings in your money and relationship sectors. And there is this big topic to question. How much are you investing in things and how much are you investing in people? And does there need to be a shuffling around with that energy? Okay, so this can really add to the intimacy in your shared resources space. And it might be time, and this could be opposite, but in many cases it might be time for you to take a little bit more focus off the material world and spend a little bit more time, you and all of the Capricorns, myself included, and focus more on the relationships, relationship space, and just kind of rest a bit on your laurels. Like, for instance, if you've been working a lot and you're a driven Capricorn and your career is important, it might be a time to take some of the money, take some of the time off and go spend it with your family, or put it into your spiritual process. Take some quiet time to yourself and focus on your inner relationship with yourself. All of those are things that will likely come up. Now, if you want to know more about some of these things going on, I have so many free resources. You can go to, I strongly suggest you watch my Eclipses in Scorpio and Eclipses in Taurus videos. You can find them directly by going to AnnieHelpsYouTV.com. That's my YouTube channel. And then looking for my Eclipse playlist. You can search for them organically with my name, Annie Botticelli, Eclipses in Scorpio, Annie Botticelli, Eclipses in Taurus. But, you can go directly in this other way. Also, you can search for Annie Botticelli, Mercury Retrograde, and Mars Retrograde and find my blogs and videos, because we're not diving deep into the implications of these transits because there's just so much going on this month. But I do have resources to help you, and retrogrades are one of my areas of specialty, as are eclipses. So you'll want to find those resources to help you make the most of this energy. But in general, the Scorpio and Taurus energies we talked about, but there's another polarity at play here specifically for Cap, and that's the 11th house, 5th house storyline. This eclipse is actually going to happen in your 11th house of friendships, networking, groups, circles, your place out in the world, the internet projects. So you might see changes there, and you might also benefit from watching my Eclipses in Aquarius or 11th house video, because from the whole house perspective, that chart, that's where the eclipse will be. Now, from the Placidus chart, because it's an early degree, it's going to fall back energetically into that 10th house of Capricorn, which means that the eclipse can bring a lot of work changes and some new work developments. So if you watch the eclipses in Capricorn or 10th house, you'll get really full coverage for this eclipse. The last thing that I want to touch on, and I'm not going to go too deep because I do have a separate video on this, but we really need to understand this Saturn-Uranus eclipse cycle. Like I said, this started to heat up. This has been covering us for a couple of years, but let's talk about what's at play here. We're looking at Saturn, the stodgy bringer of systems and discipline and old ways, and Uranus, the bringer of new things, technology, and radical new ideas. And they're in a point of conflict, the square. So everyone's been talking a lot about how Uranus is acting on these systems, creating instability, testing world leaders, everything going on with the systems that are crumbling because they're archaic, and Uranus is exerting an effect on this. However, Saturn is also exerting an effect on Uranus, which is everything new, everything radical, everything erratic, everything unstable. We are forced to look at these new things through the lens, the glasses of Saturn, okay? Because Saturn's glasses asks the question, is it sustainable? And what steps do we have to take to make those nice ideas actual realities? And is it possible? And is it now? Sometimes with progressive ideas, there's a trend of something coming, but there are certain things that can't yet be implemented. So these forces are moving back and forth, testing each other, and it can create a little chaos. Uranus is bringing uprising and revolutionary energies. Saturn is stodgy and unmoving, and both of these things are at work in our personal philosophies and our lives and systems, as well as in the global arena. So definitely search for Saturn square Uranus, Annie Botticelli, to see my video and syndicated podcast to really understand this energy. I did a very comprehensive video on the forces at play and These will be strongest October 1st through 12th, but we'll feel them in September and they will linger through November. If you resonate with how I teach and you want to learn astrology, I have so many different ways that you can do that. I've got a ton of free things, which you can see my blogs at anniehelpsyou.com. You can see my blogs at cozybysweetstarlight.com. You can watch my YouTube horoscopes and other astrology videos at anniehelpsyouTV.com, also syndicated on my Astro Kisses podcast. The anniehelpsyouTV.com is my YouTube channel. If you would like to have some wellness and creating financial abundance free courses, go to lumelife.com, Lume, life.com. There I also have 2 of my most comprehensive astrology courses, including Astrology Basics and Beyond, and my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you want to do astrology as all or part of your profession, I can teach you how. And even if you don't want to do it professionally, this course, which has at least 100 modules in it, it's super comprehensive and growing. You can learn how to help yourself and your family and your friends. And if you want to do it a little bit more low-key for my little, very low subscription exclusive content portal access, you can have even more learning how to do it yourself, read your natal chart, access to a natal chart, and plus extra and sometimes early content at anniebastrology.com. Also, check out my books. Books are not very expensive. They're available through Kindle as well, and one of them is available through Audible. You can check out Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days. It's a beautiful book. I've heard a lot of people carry it around in their purses. It's got affirmations and just other ways to stay connected to spirit. And Planetology, how to align with the natural rhythms of the universe. This is a gorgeous, very long, comprehensive textbook that has simple sections that you can follow and go back to over and over again to help you align with the natural rhythms of the universe. You will find this book on the shelf at all the major booksellers in the Mind, Body, Spirit section. And you can find both of these online and through any other venue. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.